Okay, today we are reviewing the PNSO Miragaia. This is a figure that I'm super excited to review, so we'll just get right into it. Um, I got this figure during Prime Week. Whenever Amazon Prime or Prime Day, I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I know it's like the 2 day period in the middle of the summer that Amazon has that you can get a lot of items on sale. That if you're a Prime member, so I got this as well as one other figure that shipped later. But the reason, so I wanted to get two figures for a little over 50 because I had two $25 Amazon gift cards, so I didn't want to go a ton over 50, but and considering most of the figures that were on sale, it ended up being like $60, so it was like perfect. And I think this is normally like a 30-ish dollar figure, so I got it under 30, and then I bought like one of the 40-ish dollar figures that was a little under 40 because of the week. But yeah, um, the two that I got were pretty much like the two clear cut ones to get because the Miragaia I just thought was the best, like cheaper figure. Like they've got some figures that, like I said, are in like the 30-ish dollar range, and some figures that are like in the 40-ish dollar range. And this was like the best one that was on the deal, like on the Prime deal that was in that cheaper range. And just me really wanting to get a Miragaia figure, it made sense. And then the other figure was like, I've already kind of mentioned it. It was one of the only Carcharodontosaurs that I really wanted that was in the cheaper range. But yeah, we'll get into that video. I mentioned that figure in the upcoming videos video, but that video will be really soon. So, yeah, I picked up this figure, like I said, for the reasons I did. And I've always wanted to get a Miragaia. Just it's a Stegosaur that I've always really liked. One of my favorites that I just didn't have one of in the collection. I wanted to get the Carnegie one, but I just haven't managed to been able to get one of the Carnegie ones for a good price. So then whenever I saw this one up for sale on a cheaper price, I was like, okay, I'll just get it. Because I've always liked the PNSO one, but just had always just kind of thought I was going to get the Carnegie one. But I'm still going to try to get that figure, just haven't got my hands on it yet. And I think this is the first Thyrophora member that I've reviewed on the channel, which is the group that includes Stegosaurs and Ankylosaurs, which is honestly kind of disappointing, but I've just reviewed a lot of like theropods and stuff just because I've just kind of reviewed whatever. I usually review the figures in order of when I've got them, but then just some stuff has came up, so this is the first dinosaur in that group that I've reviewed, so I'm super excited. So we'll go over the box first. So this box, as you can tell, did not come in the best of shape. One thing I just realized because I was watching YouTube, I was watching some other people's reviews on it to see if there's anything I wanted to specifically note. I didn't realize this, but I should have. The one side of the box is in English, and one side of the box is in Chinese or Japanese. I'm not exactly sure, but that's how the box looks. But yeah, like I said, the box is not in the best of shape. Oh, and I did want to mention also, this is the first PNSO figure that I have technically reviewed on the channel. I've gotten PNSO figures before. I got a bunch in that Christmas lot, but I just never reviewed any of those yet. I'm going to review some of them, just haven't got to it yet. But where I just picked up this figure and just wanted to review it now. And this is the only other time I've ordered PNSO figures other than that Christmas lot, so I'm just really excited to actually review some PNSO figures because most of the figures I've reviewed have been like Safari LTD models, which I love Safari, but you know, it's good to mix it up. And PNSO is very similar to Safari, being like a more accuracy type company, which I prefer because if you know my channel, I definitely like the more accurate style figures compared to like the JP style figures. Okay, so there is the Miragaia out of the box, and we get a little pamphlet. Some of these boxes, I know specifically in the museum line does this a lot, but some of the boxes have a ton of little pamphlets and like posters and stuff, but this one I think just has the one little pamphlet. But here is the Miragaia in the plastic. We'll get him out just as soon as we go over the pamphlet first. So one side is like the Chinese, Japanese side. I'm not for sure, but we'll go over the English side since, you know, I'm in the U.S., so no English. That's the bottom corner. That's another bottom corner. So the Miragaia's name is Rosana or Rosana. So that's the little pamphlet. There's not a ton to go. I mean, there is some stuff to read, but I'll just save you all the details of reading all that, and just go right into my normal style review. So if you haven't seen one of my reviews before, I pretty much do a certain format. I go over some information about the animal, some information about the figure, and that's pretty much the review. So yeah, we'll just get right into my review of the PNSO Rosana the Miragaia. Wow. First impressions out of the box, this figure looks awesome. The spikes, and this was one thing that I noticed on some of the videos too, the spikes are like not hard at all. Like they're way softer than you'd expect, which means that they could break easy, I guess. But I mean, they're not like fragile breaking, but just, you know, if you like mess with them a lot, they would come off. But yeah, the first impressions, this figure looks awesome. But yeah, like I said, the spikes are very like flexible, or the spines. But yeah, this figure just looks amazing out of the box. The colors are awesome. Wow. Yeah, this figure is just beautiful. So we'll go into the animal information about Miragaia first. So Miragaia is a stegosaur with a very, very long neck for a stegosaur, making it almost look like a mix of a stegosaur combined with like a sauropod. Being a stegosaur, it is related to other stegosaurs like Stegosaurus, Kentrosaurus, and Dawsontrurus. And Dawsontrurus specifically might be more closely related to Miragaia. Some studies have put Miragaia most closely related to Dawsontrurus in the subfamily Dawsontrurinae, but some studies have put it further away from it, so it's just... But some studies do have it really closely related, like I said, but not all studies do. And like I mentioned earlier, Miragaia is a Thyrophora member, meaning it is as well, meaning it as well as other stegosaurs are more closely related to ankylosaurs than groups like sauropods and ceratopsians, meaning that this dinosaur Miragaia is related to like dinosaurs like Sauropelta to an extent. This is the figure that I kind of used to tease the Miragaia in the which video was it? The upcoming videos video, because like I said, they're both PNSO figures and both being Thyrophora members. It's probably the closest figure that's a PNSO figure that I have related to this figure, but it would have been it or the Ankylosaurus. But yeah, definitely really like both of those figures a lot. Definitely would like to review that figure up at some point, but really love this PNSO Miragaia, like I said. But Miragaia lived during the late Jurassic in Portugal in the Rosana Formation, and possibly in the United States in the Morrison Formation. In its formation, the Rosana Formation, like I said, in Portugal, it lived with a variety of sauropods and stegosaurs, like the aforementioned Dawsontrurus, as well as living with some predators like Ceratosaurus and Allosaurus. The Allosaurus species that would have lived with Miragaia specifically, though, was Allosaurus europus, which Allosaurus europus was the European Allosaurus species, which is currently considered to be the smallest Allosaurus species between Fragilis and... so I'm blanking on the other Allosaurus species, but between Fragilis and the other Allosaurus species, which if I think of, I'll mention, but it's considered, Allosaurus europus is currently considered to be the smallest Allosaurus species currently. But in this formation, it would have also lived with dinosaurs like Torvosaurus And in this formation specifically, Torvosaurus would have been the largest predator that it lived with. Meaning Torvosaurus would have been the top, or at least biggest predator in the environment. And now we'll just go over the figure itself. One thing I will note about this figure specifically is it lacks like spines on the shoulders. And on some other species like Kentrosaurus, they're present. And I don't believe we have the fossils that would show whether or not specifically Miragaia would have them or lack them. And so I'm not considering this an inaccuracy or accuracy. But just, I wanted to note that because some other companies have included the spines. The Carnegie collection model doesn't have them as well as this model. But the PNSO smaller dinosaur line model actually does include them, and then some other lines like Collectes, I believe, has the spines. But like I said, this one specifically doesn't, so I'm not for sure exactly whether or not this figure should or shouldn't lack them, so I'm not considering it an accuracy or inaccuracy. And also, this figure has really long spines for a Miragaia figure, which unfortunately I don't have another Miragaia figure to compare it to, but I did want to mention that just because some other figures, like I said, have smaller spines, and I think this is just because of like a lack of fossil evidence, because we don't really have the fossil evidence to support it having longer spines or smaller spines or less spines or more spines. But so I'm not considering that an inaccuracy or accuracy, just because, like I said, we don't have the fossil evidence to support or go against it. But overall, I really like this figure. I think it's a really great figure that has no major inaccuracies, with some slight speculation that, is sort of required for a model of a prehistoric animal that we just don't have complete fossil evidence of. But like I said, once again, I really love this figure. The colors are awesome. I know this is a color scheme that PNSO has kind of used a couple times, which some people saw as a problem. But, I would like them to, diversify it out a little on colors, but it's not the end of the world for me. And as far as featured documentaries that Miragaia is in, the only documentary that I'm aware of that features Miragaia is Dinosaur Revolution, an episode that was really good, that's showing off Jurassic Portugal with some other dinosaurs like Allosaurus and Torvosaurus. And now we're going to go over the featured figures section. So obviously this is Rosana, the PNSO Miragaia. We'll go over the other PNSO figures in this video. This is the PNSO Sauropelta, which, like I said, I used to tease this model in the upcoming videos. Then we also featured the Allosaurus, which is also made by PNSO, which I have had a little trouble having stand without the base, but I'm going to have it like this for right now. And I just remembered the other Allosaurus species that I was trying to... Jamancini, I believe is how it's pronounced. That's the other Allosaurus species, which would have been larger than Allosaurus europus. We're just going to sit him down so I don't have to worry about him falling again. Then we have the... if you want to see the falling clip, I think it's in the Carnegie Diplodocus review, which I'll put a link to. And then we've got the Safari Ltd Ceratosaurus, the Safari Ltd Stegosaurus, the Safari Ltd Kentrosaurus, which is actually a kind of harder figure to get now. It's a retired figure, which I don't understand really why they're retired, but I think it's actually been retired for a while now. But it is a really hard figure to get at this point, but I really like it, and I'm really glad that I've had it for a while and kept it in good condition. Then we have the Pterobibitat Dawsontrurus. So yeah, overall, and one other thing I wanted to mention about the featured figures actually is I wish I had a Torvosaurus for this video, or a sauropod from this formation like Lusotitan, but I really wish I had a Torvosaurus figure, but I just don't really think there's a great Torvosaurus figure out right now that I really want to get. I don't really love PNSOs. I think it's like probably their worst theropod out right now. And then Collecte has one that I don't really love, but I'll probably end up getting one of those two if somebody doesn't release a new one in the next little bit. But I don't love either of those figures. I don't know why, but just I don't. So I don't have a Torvosaurus for this video. But yeah, like I said, overall conclusion, I really love this Miragaia figure. would definitely recommend getting it. It is a really, really awesome figure, especially if you're like me, wanting to get the Carnegie model, but like I said, it's just too expensive or just too hard to get at this point. So if you're wanting just a good Miragaia figure for the price, I think this is the one to get right now. But yeah, like I said, thank you all so much for watching. I'm out, but we will have another really good PNSO review coming up really soon. That is going to be a Carcharodontosaur that I think is going to be a really fun video. So like I said, thank you all so much for watching. If you want to see that video, subscribe and stay tuned.